How are you getting on, folks? Um, Overall, not too bad of a day. Um, yeah, look at Gelona drifted out massively last night and even up to before the off there today. I know I got back in again, but it drifted out to prices of in around 10 to 1. You could get it up to, I think it was something in around an hour before the race. I'm not 100% sure, but um, yeah, look at Gelona won. Look at we were lucky at the end of the day. It was gonna I suppose finish in third anyway at least, but unfortunately the faller at the last lost his life because of a broken leg. And look at I just want to take the opportunity now just to send me sincere condolences to the connections and trainer, jockey, everything else. Really and truly, that was the horse that was going to win. It was absolutely tanking along, and it just crumpled and landing. And yeah, it's not a nice sight to see. And the victory was bittersweet, but overall, in terms of a tipping point of view, it was a fairly successful day. I said it was going to be a clean sweep, Clonmel. Some of the horses that I tipped up, two of them were non-runners. We had one winner. Um, Starting price was 13 to 2, but you could have got it at prices of in around 10 to 1. From the morning up to I'd say an hour before race time. We had a few seconds, few thirds. I don't know what happened with the nap and the next best. Looked like the two of them were going to hose up for a very comfortable victory, but yeah, it just looked like they just died off in a stiff uphill finish. Really and truly, Thousand Tears. It's not a flat horse. He's not a flat horse at the end of the day. He likes to go jumping. When the two jumps in the straight were taken out, that really hindered his chances. But I think if I was the Borks, I would keep this horse at 3 miles. He obviously stays very, very well, providing that the jumps are kept in. He would have won fairly handily today, in my personal opinion. I think he just died off with, you could say, 4 or 5, maybe even 6 furlongs of a straight, and that is tough for a national owned horse. Um, Cotty, look at it's hard to really digest how this horse lost today. It finished well ahead of more info in Galway the last time it ran. I'm really putting it down to the ground. I know the ground in Galway that day was, if I'm not mistaken, it was good to yielding, but it was definitely, I'd say, good to firm today without a shadow of a doubt. Maybe more info just provide or produce better on better ground. I really don't know, but it sort of puzzled me a little bit. Maybe it was just the fact that Patrick Mullins is a stronger rider. Um, Now saying that, it's no disrespect to Pat Taff, but it just goes without saying that Patrick Mullins is definitely one of the best amateurs in the game. I want to take this opportunity to I suppose congratulate a very good friend of mine in the racing industry, Jordan Canavan. As a few of you might know that follow the page from the very start, I helped Jordan Canavan get sponsorship with Knightsbridge Bloodstock, which is run by another very good friend of mine, Shane Heffernan, all the way over in Bangkok. So yeah, I just want to say a massive congratulations to both Jordan and Shane. It looked like Jordan was going to absolutely hose up. I tell you something, Jordan, you kept that one quiet, but yeah, look we're going to, I suppose, kick on Kilbeggan now tomorrow. It's there's a few nice horses running in some very poor races, so obviously the prices are a little bit short, but there is a few ones in here that are at a nice price that I do definitely think will run a very, very credible race, especially around Kilbeggan. First race anyway, we're going to kick things off. It's very, very straightforward. I'm not going to be having a bet in this race. We're going to go with Fusain at 2 to 9. Look at, if you're going to be having a bet, you're going to be absolutely mad in my personal opinion. 2 to 9 is definitely not worth, I suppose, wasting your money on. To put on the likes of 90 to win 120, you'd want to be fairly, I suppose, fairly stuck for money. But look at the end of the day, this horse is very much the class act of the race. It's rated 126. The field, if I'm not mistaken, is in or around between 80 to 100 rated. So when you're looking at it that way, it has 26 pounds of an advantage in terms of quality. If it was a handicap race, this horse would have to give 26 pounds in allowance to, I suppose, combat quality over, how would you say, equality more so than anything else. So yeah, Fusain should really win this at a very comfortable level. 2 to 9 though, I wouldn't be jumping head over heels about really at the end of the day. Moving on then to the 440, we're going to go with Fortune Street, currently trading around 13 to 2. Paul Nolan horse, it looks really, really interesting here. The bumper form has held up. It's been a very, very decent bumper horse. It actually won a bumper around Wexford. Obviously, Paul Nolan's a Wexford native, but it won that very, very comfortably that day. Its jumping needs to improve. There's no point in denying it. It was very poor in Tramore and, if I'm not mistaken, Tipperary, but I can't be too sure on that. It has 2 runs over hurdles. Both of them were very, very disappointing, but this is a very poor race in my personal opinion. I think there's an awful lot here that are very, I suppose, hyped up. There's one coming in from South America in the Dermot Well Yard. Paddy Kennedy rides. I really don't know what to make of this horse. It's a graded South American horse. I don't follow South American racing, to be quite honest with you. I don't know what this horse is going to be like. But yeah, the market is there supporting it. Look, it's hard to know. All I know is Fortune Street currently trading around 13 to 2. It's at an each way price. I definitely think it's worth an each way shout. Now moving on to the 510, we're going to go with Silver Star. This one is currently trading around 9 to 2. It was runner up in Tramore behind the favourite here, Goodbye Someday. It now meets it off £8. It's £8 better off, basically what I'm trying to say. It was 6.5 or 6.25 or 6.75 lengths behind Goodbye Someday that day. With normal progression, obviously you have to take that into consideration as well as the £8 allowance. I think definitely this horse is way, way overpriced here in my personal opinion. I definitely think it should be very much in or around 9 to 4, 2 or 3 to 1, in or around that price. So 9 to 2 is definitely worth a shout at this price. You have to shop around to try and find a good each way shout. I'm on Bet365 myself. If I'm not mistaken, it's going at a quarter the odds. So if that's the case, with whatever bookies you're with, obviously if it's still at 9 to 2, it's definitely worth an each way shout. You're going to be getting a little bit more than your money back at the end of the day, and steady progression is the main aim of the game, I suppose, at the end of the day. But yeah, don't be surprised if this horse absolutely romps home with that £8 allowance. Now moving on to the 540, we're going to take a little bit of a chance here, but we're going to go for the next best of the day. We're going to go with Fakir Daleen, currently trading around 4 to 5. If this horse wasn't a reserve, it would be easily 1 to 2, 1 to 3 on. 4 to 5, very, very short, very, I suppose, big price in my opinion for this horse. It's held at the highest regard. Gordon Elliott has been talking up this horse for a long, long time. I was there that day in Navan when it absolutely flopped in the bumper, but I'm putting that down to heavy ground. The day here, we're not actually too far away from Kilbeggan, but the day itself has held up fairly nicely. There hasn't been too much rain, and the sun has been out nearly all day. So in my personal opinion, I think the ground is going to dry up an awful lot, and if that's the case, it's going to help out Fakir Daleen an awful lot in this one. Um, all depending how many non-runners are there. Obviously, if there's no non-runners, this horse doesn't run. But yeah, look at if you take the chance 4 to 5, it's very hard to look past. Sunday Julia's it's a fairly decent horse, but this Fakir Daleen is a top class, I suppose, prospect. It's not a top class horse yet, but it's definitely down the line. It could well be a top class horse in time to come. Now moving on to the 6-10, we're going to go with Galaxy Girl. Another each way shout, 13-2. This horse is very progressive. I'm actually not too sure. If I'm not mistaken, it is a mare. I know there's some names out there that do throw a bit of a spanner in the works. They could be they could be a girl, and it could be a gelding, or it could be a colt. But if I'm not mistaken, this one is a mare. It's very very progressive. It looks to have, I suppose, progressed an awful lot. Say in the time of the lockdown, it looks like the lockdown itself has, I suppose, benefited the horse more so than anyone else in the field. Normal progression should really see this horse go on and at least place, in my personal opinion here. I wouldn't be too shocked to see it go on and win. It's got a very, very nice chance. If I'm not mistaken, it's a Gavin Cromwell horse. Gavin Cromwell is starting to get his winners back now, especially in the last 14 days. And the jockey, if I'm not mistaken, is Daniel Holden. Daniel has had one winner, if I'm not mistaken, in the last 14 days as well. So look at, it could be well worth a shout. It's either Holden or Maxwell. I'm not 100% sure which jockey is on board there today. There's 8 races, so it's hard to keep track on all the jockeys. I don't have it written down here, but if I'm not mistaken, it's either Maxwell or Danny Holden. Yeah, they're the two that are coming to mind with me anyway. But yeah, both of them very capable jockeys. 13-2 is definitely worth an each way shout. Now moving on to the 640, the Mage Portois, currently trading around 2-1. I honestly cannot understand how this horse is such a big price. It's a 140 horse in a 120 field. This really is what looks to be a real shoe-in for this horse here. I can't see any other horse coming on to beat it. This Jack Hackett, it has course form. I won't deny that. I've been in Kilbeggan plenty of times before and seen Jack Hackett run very credible races, but really and truly at the end of the day it needs to pull out all the stops to go and win this race here. The Mage Portois definitely looks to, I suppose, have found a very, very nice opportunity here. Like I said, a 140 horse in a 120 field. It's very, very hard to look past this one here now today. And with the price it is, 2-1, it's definitely worth a bet in my opinion. You could be backing horses at bigger prices, but they shouldn't really come close to this the Mage Portois here. I would be putting it down as my nap, but there is just some lingering doubts whether it is, I suppose, on the back foot. It hasn't run to its credit at all for the last, oh Jesus, if I'm not mistaken, a year and a half to 2 years anyway, at least. It's always, I suppose, come up a little bit short and has often been very, very costly to follow, but really and truly, 2-1, I would highly advise people to get on board while it is this price. If it drifts out even more, all the better, because you're at the end of the day, it looks like you're going to be, I suppose, getting more money for what you're dishing out at the end of the day. Now 7-10, this is going to be the nap of the day, and it's going to be an each way shout. I know that sort of contradicts with each other, but I really think this Abbey Magic at 6-1 is definitely worth an each way here. We haven't seen this horse since its hat-trick in 2018. One of those was over course and distance. its previous two runs, obviously the last time it ran around Kilbeggan it won, and won fairly comfortably as well that day. But the time before it was 33-1 and it finished third, a very, very good third at that. It obviously loves the course. Like I said, the trouble is the 2 year absence, how well this horse has, I suppose, progressed in those 2 years without going to a track. In my personal opinion, I don't think that's going to hinder it one bit so ever. I got a little bit tongue tied there. I just managed to pull it back. But yeah, look, at the end of the day, I really think this horse is going to go on and do the business here. It's coming from the Henry de Bromhead yard. Henry is absolutely flying it lately. All you have to do is look at the facts and figures. 22% strike rate in the last 14 days with his horses. He's had plenty of runners, but yeah, look, it's hard to knock a figure like that. It's obviously one of the best return rates in the field. It's coming in off a hat trick back 2 years ago, I will admit that, but if it's in even half the form it's in, it should really be winning this fairly comfortably. Now, Danny Holden, I think, is this race now. That's the one I think I was getting confused with. But if I'm not mistaken, Danny Holden is riding this horse, £7 claimer. Danny is, I suppose, a very, very good rider for his claim. I definitely think it's well worth an each-way shout at this sort of price, and definitely do not be surprised to see this horse absolutely ramp home now tomorrow. Now, finally, we're going to not kick things off, or finish things off, not kick things off, with the favourite in the last, Mason City, 10-11. It's very, very hard to look past anything else. Obviously, Jamie Codd, one of the best amateur riders in the game and one of the best bumper jockeys in Ireland to date. This Mason City, it was second last time to break even. Break even is from the Tom Mullins yard, if I'm not mistaken. But over the past year, it has been a very, very decent point-to-point horse, and now it's turned into a fairly decent bumper horse. So it looks very, very exciting. Really and truly, if it turns up today like it did that day, if I'm not mistaken, it was in Killarney, this really should be one to be on at the end of the day. I know it's a short price. Look, it's hard to, I suppose, justify why I'm doing these videos when I'm tipping up horses at such short prices, but the main aim of the game is to try and get you as many winners as I can. If they're at each way prices, I do tip up each way. But this horse really should hold up at the end of the day. I'd expect to see this horse going well clear. There's an awful lot of these would have fitness questions over their heads, and look at all fingers are pointing towards this Mason City. But look at, that's all I'm going to do now for tomorrow. Like I said, keep liking, sharing, subscribing. If you're here through the World of Sport website, I very much hope you got on Gelona at 10-1 when it was advised. And look at, it was just unfortunate the way things panned out with the nap and the next best. It looked like it was going to be a nice Rooney treble, but c'est la vie, and we'll have to live for another day. But look, thanks very much. I'm going to leave it there, and make sure to like, share and subscribe.